but linebacker Gabe Powers, top prospect for the 2022 class out of Marysville, is basically saying that Ohio State's high on his list, very attracted to come to Columbus, which certainly isn't a big surprise, Steve.
Yeah, Gabe's probably the top prospect in Ohio in the 2022 class. And again, probably a national top 50 player. Some of the networks have begun ranking the guys who will be juniors this coming year. Marysville, they play in the Ohio Capital Conference, and I don't know their exact division, but it wouldn't surprise me if they are in with the Hilliard and Dublin schools on the northwest side of Columbus, as well as maybe Delaware, because those are all very short drives for them. I know a lot of the OCC divisions are decided by enrollment and travel and a lot of factors that go into it. Well, it's just suffice to say that he plays against great competition in one of the best leagues in Ohio, the Ohio Capital Conference. And it's like a 40-team league, all the suburban schools around Columbus. And Gabe, as a sophomore, really distinguished himself this past season. So he's a guy that the Buckeyes are definitely pinning their hopes on for 2022. I don't know that you would put him in the same stratosphere as Jack Sawyer, the outstanding player from Pickerington North, who is verbaled, obviously, for 2021 as a national top 10 prospect, but he is an outstanding prospect. I know that there were some videos that surfaced here just this week that he was working out in the shadow of Ohio Stadium with Harry Butch Reynolds, who's a personal trainer and former Olympic gold and silver medalist. So that sounds like a good guy to learn how to become faster and more athletic. I think he'd be a good one to learn from. So there's some of the MO on Powers. I think he's, again, as we say, a tremendous prospect in that 2022 class. Marysville has not, over the years, produced an abundance of Ohio State caliber players. We were talking off the air. I think there was a player from there, Chase Blackburn, maybe a decade or more ago, and he went on to the NFL, as I recall. But otherwise, it's not a high Division I producing type program. But then again, you look at the 2021 class, you've got a kid, Reed Carrico, coming from Ironton, Ohio, and it's very rare that they produce Ohio State caliber players as well. Jermon Jackson, 25 or 30 years ago, may have been the last one. So you think about it, you could find guys anywhere. And as I outlined, Marysville at least plays the best competition in Central Ohio. So to me, Powers, and I'm just digging up a little bit more info on him because I wanted to throw in he's 6'4", 220 pounds, and is, according to our database at 24/7, he's already got 18 offers, and he's just going into his junior year. So there's a lot of people that really like him, and I'm just laughing at our database page on him. The head and shoulder shot has him in a Michigan T-shirt at a Michigan game, and note to self, we've got to fix that. So neat updated photo of Gabe Powers. I'm just going to put that on my to-do list.
Well, based on his frame of reference, in terms of what football he's seen, I got to credit that he's not going around with the not jumping on the bandwagon in terms of winning. At least let's credit that. What you got, Tony?
I think it's awesome for a high school kid to be able to work with Butch Reynolds, only a former Olympian, former Ohio State speed coach. And I know when our Mark Givler talked with both Gabe Powers and Butch Reynolds a few weeks ago, Butch referenced his time at Ohio State working with bigger athletes and getting them faster. So when you're talking about Gabe Powers, a 2022 kid who's already 6'4", 220, now working to keep that speed and keep that athleticism, I think that's that's a huge opportunity for him to, if he wants to play linebacker rather than defensive end, if he can keep that speed, that'll be one way to do it, is by staying fast, because he's going to be a big kid by the time he lands anywhere. And I know Ohio State feels pretty good about him, and I think Buckeye fans probably assume he's in. And really, until we see any evidence that he's not, I think most people expect him to eventually be a Buckeye.
Yeah, and I think linebacker, as we've kind of outlined, when you lose 7 linebackers in the next 2 years, the 4 seniors this year and the 3 juniors for next year, I think it is certainly a position where they need to replenish and get the best players in the country. And he's ranked 43rd by 24/7 Sports nationally, so that's pretty good. His offer list is outstanding. As I scrolled down through it, as I mentioned, nearly 20 offers. Florida State, and then, of course, a lot of the schools in this footprint: Kentucky, Michigan, Michigan State, Minnesota, Notre Dame, Penn State, Pittsburgh, and then drop it on down, Stanford, great academic school, Tennessee, USC, West Virginia, and Wisconsin. So he's got everybody in this footprint, and a lot of the top schools nationally that are already in on him as a high school junior, kind of like we saw. I alluded to Jack Sawyer, although Sawyer shut it down very early in the process and said, I'm going to Ohio State. So it would be obviously, when you've got a national top 50 guy within a half hour of your campus, which Marysville's kind of on the cusp of that, about a half hour away. It was so important to get Zach Harrison a couple of years ago, coming from Delaware County. This kid coming from Marysville and Union County, just right up Route 33, to be that highly rated. He's a must get for Ohio State.
I pride myself in knowing where NFL players went to college, but if they didn't go to a Power 5 school, I give myself a bit of a pass. Chase Blackburn, University of Akron, 10-season career at the NFL with the Giants and the Panthers, 2-time Super Bowl champion, wasn't any kind of Pro Bowl outstanding great player, but man, to log 10 years in the NFL and win 2 Super Bowls, and he played for those teams. You know, he was active, he was playing, had a role on those teams. So University of Akron for Chase Blackburn.
I think off the air I mentioned Boston College. One of you guys said Virginia Tech. And in the back of my mind, I was kind of like Miami, Ohio, maybe, Mac. But that was down the other way on 33, Rob Carpenter from 1,000 years ago. And Bobby Carpenter's dad, he played at Miami. So, oh well.
And also I was thinking Blacksburg instead of Blackburn, probably.
Yeah.